Sam, you can go if you want. You don't have to sit around. All right, welcome everybody. My name is Anna Wilkins. I'm the Executive Director for North County Land Trust. With us here, we have also Jassy Brack, who is our Director of Land Protection. And I am here to talk about, let me just start slideshow. Hang on a second. Yeah. Sure. Here we go. To talk a little bit about what we're doing here today and Warrant Article 23. It's very exciting for us. So North County Land Trust, just in case you haven't heard of us before, we are a regional land trust covering north central Massachusetts, including Ashburnham. And we conserve land both for our own fee interest, but also to help municipalities assist with their land conservation projects. This particular project that we're talking about today is, is a larger landscape project, and Warrant Article 23 is about a part of that larger project. So if you remember back in 2020, the trustees of reservations conserved the Crocker Farm at Jewel Hill Conservation Area. Fitchburg watershed land surrounds that. This map shows Zone A and B of watershed protection areas. We have Russell Hill Road here. This is the Summers CR and the Hartshorn CR, and this is the Midstate Trail if anybody's a hiker that goes through there. The land that connects Jewel Hill kind of along Russell Hill Road and then up to Mount Hunter, this is an area that is important ecologically, and it's important for watershed protection. This hatch mark here is actually state designated critical habitat for wildlife. So as you can see, the zones here are important for a number of reasons, but also Russell Hill Road has cultural value in its scenic properties and also being around the Cambridge Grant area, historic value, all of that. So what we have put together, we've been working for over a year with the landowners along Russell Hill Road to try to conserve this important area, and we still have work to do. But right now we're excited because we've submitted a grant for this parcel here, the Curlinger land. We've submitted that grant with the city of Fitchburg for watershed protection grant. And we're also working with the Batonis and the Pilastries to conserve their land over here. And that's what Article 23 is referring to, is this conservation restriction. So along with the Town Conservation Commission, we are working to apply to the state for a land grant. The land grant offers municipalities 66% reimbursement rate for appraised value or total of the total project cost. So what we have here is also very fabulous because the neighbors in this neighborhood have gotten together and have really gifted the town something special. So normally the town has to put up 44% to match the 66% of the land grant. But through their charity and donation of the value, their appraised value, they're donating that value to the town so that they are matching, they're providing that match that the state needs. North County Land Trust has a reserves. So what we will be doing is giving the town a zero interest loan for that warrant article that we're voting on. that total cost is going to be given to the town through generous donations and North County Land Trust's pot of money as a zero interest loan. So when you vote on Article 23, there's that money that you see in that is actually coming from private sources, donated in a zero interest loan to the town. And once the state reimburses the town, they'll reimburse us. And again, that match portion is being donated by the landowners. So it's really no cost to the town, but what the town gets is a conservation restriction on these parcels. Now that conservation restriction, it will be managed by the Conservation Commission. They'll have to monitor it every year. So while we were putting this project together, we made sure that we were able to get $5,000 or budget in $5,000 that we will gift to the Concom to help them with their stewardship funds and their stewardship responsibilities. So again, through generous people who love the town and love its rural character have really come together to make this a real sweet deal for the town. Now, another piece that's very exciting is that we have worked with the landowners to put together this conceptual trail that links Jewel Hill to the Mid-State Trail, which adds recreational value to this project. So now you can park at Jewel Hill. You can take the trails. If you take the Laurel Lane, there's a sign right there at the Curlinger property that says, sorry, all good things must come to an end. We'll be able to remove that sign and continue on. The gardeners have given us a trail license agreement, and we will be building this trail that connects with the Vitoni land. And we've also gotten agreements from the Summerses and the Hartshorns to connect down by Brown Brook Falls to the Mid-State Trail. And you can go up to Mount Hunger, you can go down to Route 12, or up to Wataynick there. We're very excited about that, and if you're into hiking, that's an exciting piece of it. So again, public access, this is a beautiful field that the Vitonis maintain. This is a beautiful field up towards the road with important forests in the back, which the Blasters maintain. And again, you have those beautiful vistas from the road that will be protected. So again, no cost to the town. Town gets $5,000 to help maintain it. Actually, North County Land Trust will be a backup holder on the conservation restriction to help them if there's ever an issue. And we get to protect this beautiful piece. The land will still be privately owned, so we're not losing any, and they will pay the taxes that they're paying now on it. We're not losing any tax revenue. So basically what the owners of the land are doing with a conservation restriction, they're selling their development rights to the Concom so that the land is still theirs, but they don't have the right to develop it. It's like any other easement. So you can sell an easement over your property to another entity. It's the same thing. Conservation easement is that you sell the rights to develop your land. You still have the right to do forestry or to put trails or whatever it is that you've agreed upon with the holder. So that's that in a nutshell. Did I post these? Again, this is some close-ups of the actual conservation restricted parcels. Yeah, is there any questions right now? Did I go too fast? Are there other, yes, Claire?
I can foresee a couple of questions coming up at the meeting.
Sure.
I mean, Number one, does Concom have the resources to be able to do monitoring on the seawall? How many properties do they currently monitor, and are they able to do it annually themselves?
That's a great question, and it was a question that came up from the select board as well. And again, this was one of the solutions that we came up with. I think that the town does its best to do that monitoring, but it is a challenge for them at the moment. Again, with that $5,000 stewardship money that can be put into a fund, they can, hire it out or whatnot. But the other thing is that since North County Land Trust will be backup holders for that conservation restriction, that is something that we're willing to take on as part of that to ensure that that conservation restriction is maintained in perpetuity. That's kind of what we do. So it's part of helping the town figure that out, training volunteers. We can help out with that.
Your answer might want to include how many properties that are currently successful.
Sure. Yeah, Chris, do you have data on that?
I am Chris McConaughey. I've been on the Concom since 2006, and right now we only monitor one technically. The Oakmont property is the CR of the Concom. I've been doing it every year. I've always done it for free. The idea that there would actually be money involved would make this easier to maybe hire somebody, but I'm not even sure we need to beat that. And as Anna pointed out there, you can always ask, if we're overloaded, you can ask an organization to just do the monitoring and then they just do the paperwork. See, can you correct me, Bush Hill, is that technically, that's under the CTU, or is that Concom CR as well?
No, it's DCR.
But who's supposed to do the? So I think, so there's, I guess.
DCR, first lady.
So even if Concom is supposed to do it, ACT is Mercy's there, that's always done. So, in other words, you can always have other people actually do the monitoring, takes a couple hours, a lot of the little forms. It would not be overwhelming to have a couple more properties.
Yes, Claire.
The other question I see coming up is, it's wonderful you have a trail going from Jewel Hill to Mid-State Trail. However, properties change hands. Will the trail be in the property deeds when that property changes hands from one property owner to another?
So certainly, my understanding, Jassy, do you want to take that? Because you know the ins and outs of the conservation restrictions.
I can answer that. The trail across the 20 property will be written into the conservation restriction because public access is required as part of the land grant. The trail on the Corona property will be written into their conservation restriction because likewise public access is required or recommended for the water department rights. The trail across the garden property right now is a trail license. It is revocable. This is something that they are very happy to try. They want to know before they commit long term that this is not going to be a real hardship for them, but they're very excited to participate in this, and I firmly believe that they will find that for many years to come. I don't think it will be invasive on that land. And North County Land Trust will help to maintain the trail and create the trail. So for that particular property, it is sort of a trial, but sometimes you have to try things first before you commit long term. So,
Yeah, and I would say that, the trail is a fantastic bonus and certainly something that we would love to have be a public resource. Again, the gardeners have expressed excitement about the project and about having the trail license there and trying this out. So we're hopeful that that will turn into a trail easement, which then would run with the land. Or even a conservation restriction which is something they may consider in the future.
They're gonna help us lay out the trail, they're gonna help us cut the trails, they're already investing.
Yes, he's,
Are you gonna do a baseline on these two properties?
the baseline is budgeted in the project costs. So yes. So that total project that you're voting on includes baselining. So, yeah. And yeah,
I have a couple of questions of
sure,
words I'm not familiar with.
sure.
Easement rights and baseline.
Yeah.
Easement rights, what are they and what determines the value? Who does that?
Conservation easements, yeah, and conservation restrictions, right? So for the state grant, we have to get a certified appraiser to tell us what that value is
The value of the land or the easement?
of the easement. Yeah. So basically, and this is my basic understanding, is that they will do an appraisal of the property and the appraisal of what the development rights are on those properties. So how many house lots or whatnot, and then they'll give you a value of the land, you know, minus the development, or reverse that. It's the counter of that. So is that right, Jesse, or do you want to explain it a little better than I
They
did?
appraise the land as it is. If it was developable, and as I would say, they take into consideration the zoning, how many house lots.
Yep, frontage, yep,
frontage.
wetlands, all of it.
They come up with a value for that, and then they'll determine what the value of the land is going to be or not developable. And the difference between those two values is the value of the conservation restriction.
Yeah,
Is that value known now or before?
it is. Yeah, yep, it is. And it's very, the total warrant price is mostly the value of the two properties. There's other costs in there too, but they're small comparatively. So you can guesstimate around that, but I can also, I don't know if
The warrant article includes the cost of the appraisals, the cost of the surveys, the cost of the baseline report. And it's also the full value, and both landowners have agreed to accept partial payment of that. So the town would be reimbursed the 66% that the grant would pay, and the landowners will be contributing the balance.
yeah. Which is very generous. Very generous.
34%.
34. Sorry, 34.
Yeah.
And baseline.
Yes.
What does
Okay.
that mean?
So with all conservation land, you put together what's called a baseline document. That's basically, it talks about what are the conditions of the property at the moment of time when it was conserved. Because if there is a violation of the terms of the easement, like if you ended up building a barn on the conserved property, for example, then you can't claim, oh, that barn was there, or, I didn't know where the boundaries were or anything, because you have the baseline documentation. It's like basically the legal defense of the property. So all properties that go into conservation need to have a baseline documentation.
Other word for deed, kind of?
No, it's more like a report. It's like a conditions report, current conditions report. So it has all the maps, it has all the reasons for conserving, it has photographs at certain points around the property to document how the conditions are. And that goes, the Concom will have a copy, we'll have a copy, and then every year the monitoring report will be added into that to make sure that the conditions aren't being, the terms of the easement aren't being violated. So
Last question, what is the total acreage of the two parcels?
I think it's all together, so there's 37 and 2, no, 30, I think it's 39 acres.
35 and 2.7.
Yeah, 34.9 and 2.7, so 35, 6, 7, 7, 37, 7, 38. And again, this is an area that we, that Ashburnham has kind of, and Fitchburg have worked over time. We've got the Rice CR and Jewel Hill, and this is an area where we've decided that it's important for us to conserve. So this is part of, I think, the town, this is an area that the town has really invested money and time in the past. So, and it's beautiful out there. It's really nice. Right. Again, are there any other questions or comments or things that you like to know? Yeah, Chris.
Not related to the warrant, but
Yeah.
I'm just looking where the trail crosses Brown River.
Mm.
I know where the mid-state currently crosses, it's kind of that little, isn't that the little precarious section where the roads are against the rocks and you kind of go
Yeah.
up?
So, yeah.
So if that's already a little bit precarious, would it make more sense to come down and join, sort of use the same crossing, or are you going to create a new, are you going to create maybe a better bridge crossing? And if so, maybe have the mid-state go to that.
Yeah. Ed has worked with Paul Summers to come up with this route. And that's kind of what, and the crossing isn't too bad right there.
It's just, okay.
And we'll likely have to build something across the brook, but Paul was less enthusiastic about having it come down this side.
Okay.
So yeah, both areas are great. Probably running, the brook's probably running pretty full right now.
That's the sort of proposed route. We've got to finalize it later.
Yeah.
GPS it. Yeah. So that's kind of rough.
This is the current thinking at the moment. Yeah,
This will be fine too.
yeah, but this, I am really struck by how generous this neighborhood is being and how generous the landowners are being with visioning for this and protecting this beautiful part of the town, an important part of the town. So it's really quite, I think it would be, they're just making it very easy to say, this makes sense. We don't have to pay anything. The town's getting help, and we can drive down Russell Hill and continue to enjoy those big fields. The conserved fields on the other side of the road, Russell Hill Conservation Area, and now onto the Tony side and Philosophy side. So I think it's really special that you have neighbors that are coming together to put this together, make it work for the town. And we're happy to facilitate. Absolutely. So again, this is all contingent upon us being awarded the land grant. And if we aren't awarded the land grant, we will do something else or maybe try again another time. But that doesn't commit the town to going forward if we're not awarded the land grant.
The warrant article is clear that this is contingent on receipt of grant.
Yeah. So this is the next step in the process, and then we apply, and then we hear, and then we can follow through. So it's a process. All right, any other questions? If you do have other thoughts and questions, our information's on the back. Feel free to reach out. Feel free to email us, call us. If you pass it along to other folks who have questions, it's anybody else want to say anything? No? All right. Well, if you know where to find me, and I'm also, just so you all know, I am also a resident, so I in town here. I just happen to live here as well, so I appreciate people who show up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right.